Okay, so this is Dash's Roadmap to Success, and I just want to remind the guardians of a couple things we went over during the session today. The first one being petting with a purpose. So remember, you want to ask him to sit before you start petting him each and every time. That's just going to help him gain self-control and adds a little bit more structure and manners to his lifestyle. The other thing is it's, again, helping him with emotional regulation. So instead of just acting impulsively and seeing something he wants and just going after it, kind of like what he has been doing with the TV situation, he's just being reactive. This is teaching him to gain that kind of self-control. So he has to wait, and then you can kind of pet him and then do whatever else you would typically do. Remember, he does not have to stay sitting the whole time. It's just that beginning part. He sits, and then if he wants to stand up and you play around with him, totally fine, act normally. Or you can lay on the floor and cuddle with him on the floor, totally acceptable. Next is, let's see, leadership exercise. So remember, the leadership exercises, we had 2 treats. We toss one away from us. Then we use the escalating consequences to disagree with him. If he comes inside that invisible boundary that we set, that's about a 3 to 4 foot circumference around us, where we put a treat in between our feet. And remember, we hiss, and then we're already standing, so we face him, and then we walk towards him if he tries to get in that space. And then when he does lay down on his own without any commands, we turn sideways and crouch down and tap the floor to give him permission. So those are just the kind of basic rules and structure for that. You can actually, as a bonus, you can do that pretty much anywhere in the house. You can create invisible boundaries. So if, say, you want to create an invisible boundary by the front door, so he learned he couldn't go beyond a certain area, you can also do that. So when guests come over, he doesn't kind of intrude. If you want to see more about that, go to the website dogonpromise.com, click on dog training tips. There's a search bar, type in the word claiming the door, and you'll find a bunch of videos on specifically how to use that same type of setup for the front door and other areas of your home. So that's just like a little extra tip there. Let's see, we want to make sure we have dedicated playtime for him. So one of the biggest things, I'm just going to skip down on the list, is that he's been coming over and setting a toy down in front of you and just standing there and staring at you. So first off, ignore it completely. Remember, eye contact alone is enough that's going to keep him looking for you to throw that toy. So even looking at him is too much. Definitely talking to him is too much. So just go ahead and just keep ignoring him, even if that's 20-40 minutes long. Remember, in the beginning, it might last longer because he's used to, if he's persistent, eventually someone throws the toy. A really big deal will be to make sure that everyone in the house is ignoring the behavior as well, so he eventually stops and gives up on that. I want to encourage you guys to come up with a code word. So if someone's, say, in the living room, he puts the toy here and it's right next to you and you're ignoring it, you say that to anyone else coming into the room so they know you're actively ignoring the toy and they don't accidentally throw the toy or get him all riled up. So I've come up with a code word, something neutral, just to mention so everyone's on the same page and you can kind of keep up with that good behavior. The part with the actual dedicated playtime, I want to encourage you to have that dedicated time. Spend like about 30 minutes a day trying to get him to play intentionally. I would also encourage you to have a word like, okay, let's play. So that way he knows it's the initiation of the playing, and then have a word for when you're done, or a phrase like all done. Something that you say each time when you're completely done, you're not going to throw the toy for him anymore. One great way is to maybe ask him to be running up and down the stairs, so throw a toy up to the top of the stairs, bring it back down. So he's mental stimulation, he's playing, and he's getting some exercise. The other part to add into that is some of the rules. So just ask him to sit every time before you get him going. So that way he doesn't get all worked up, hyper, and that's when he's more likely to start nipping at you, is when he starts losing control. So we're building in rules for playtime so he doesn't get into that type of behavior. Other things with that is just including more of that structure. So not trying to, like, if you're going to take him for a walk, go over, put the martingale collar on him, and then take him for a walk, and not get him all excited, like, you want to go? You want to go? Because if you get him all worked up, as soon as you go out the door, he's going to be pulling because he's just so excited. So try to keep things calm, because he can be happy but be calm at the same time, and that's the main goal. Same thing, structured walk. Remember, we're using that martingale collar, taking the leash, wrapping around his body, going up towards his head through that second loop. And then remember, you pull up quick and release, and that's the way to help him stop pulling when he's out for walks. So we call that exercise a structured walk. If you, again, want to look on the website for additional training tutorials, you can go ahead and look for that. And then last, we use the counter conditioning to help him stop being so reactive to the TV. Remember, that's when we say, look at the TV, give him a treat, and over time you're going to extend that period of time. You can use Cheerios, carrots, whatever you want to help for different treats, as long as he's motivated enough to look away from the TV to take the treat. If he's not motivated by it, it's not a treat that will work, but you can use Cheerios, popcorn, carrots, apple slices, whatever, as other alternatives from just the traditional treats. Okay, and then the last thing I want to remind you of is everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.